Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of What's Good America. I am C. Turner here in fantastic, beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, West Side Jacksonville, Florida, Duval County.
Duval.
That is Jay's Big Game Walter, and that is the Hall of Fame coach himself, Heron O'Neal. Mr. I beat you at your home and you can't doubt me, bitch. Anyway.
That's true.
I don't want to get personal about it. I'm sorry. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all. To bring up a topic I'm not bitter about at all, and honestly, I don't give two fucks about it. Trevor Lawrence has contracted the coronavirus, which that's not the funny part at all. But I wish that man all the health and best of luck in his career and everything else. Trevor Lawrence, there's been several things that kind of come at him about this week. He can't play this week against the Notre Dame game, and I swear to God, if Notre Dame wins and it makes Bays right, I will probably kill myself if Bays right. But Trevor Lawrence isn't playing this week, and a lot of stuff has come out about he may come back to school if the Jets get the first pick. So let me ask you this. It's a two-part question. What does that say about the Jets? And I know we've tackled this before, but what does this say about the Jets? And what would you do in this situation?
Well, if it's me, I'm gonna get that money. I don't care who it's with. Now I can understand why he wouldn't want to do the Jets. The Jets hadn't been successful since, Todd Bowles, I think, first year in the end of the Rex Ryan regime.
Yeah.
So that's almost, 5 to 10 years. I get it. They haven't drafted well at all. They haven't developed ball players at all. They haven't surrounded Donald with any ball players, the current number one pick they've had for 3 years ago. So I get the track record. Now, it kind of would depend on, to me, my decision-making is who would be the head coach. Because that's the beginning of the change in every organization is the head coach. Because you're not going to fire the owner. You more than nine out of 10 times, you're not going to get rid of the GM. The first one needs to go, in my opinion, would be the head coach. Gates has proven now in 2 different NFL stops that I know of, Miami and the Jets, that he can't get it done. And I'm like my man Stephen A. A lot of times, I don't know if he has a thyroid problem, but those eyes be extremely big when you ask him them tough questions, and I don't know if he's on some type of narcotic or what it might be, but we know he cannot coach in the NFL as a head coach. I think that has been proven, and I think that would be the first step in me making that decision to come in to the Jets. They would have to get rid of Gates. That would be the first step, and then we could start talking about the GM that picks the players, and they have to come on the same accord. I mean, because they both have proven that they are not fit to be in the NFL with their track record that they've been put forth out here in the past 3 years, in my opinion.
I mean,
Well,
I got a couple ways to think about this. One, Chris Turner, you a damn lie. You know you don't wish that dude none. I mean, I haven't even heard you say something nice about Deshaun Watson. We've been doing this show.
man, fuck Deshaun Watson.
You probably don't even – you would never even think of drafting a Clemson player in your fantasy team. So I don't well wishes. Miss me with that, number one.
I was ignorant on the last part. I couldn't be ignorant on both.
So miss me with that. I know how you feel about everything that Dabo Swinney's ever touched in football. So
trash. Fucking trash.
Now, in regards to Trevor Lawrence contracting COVID, I'm utterly shocked that the fact that they would even allow that story to leak.
Mia, come here.
That's first and foremost. Like, how would you even allow this guy, of all people, to even get around it? Number two, if he had it, why would you even let that story out? I would have waited until he passed 1,000 negative tests. Like, does Trevor Lawrence need to practice at this point? He plays in the ACC.
Very true. That's very true.
I mean, there's nobody that's on the schedule for them except for this game right here that would have any remote shot at beating them until they get down and they got to maybe somebody down the road might get him. Maybe ACC championship after 10 years.
No,
But
not even then.
It's not going to be in the ACC.
Trevor,
it would be in a bowl game for top 4.
Trevor
what do
Lawrence
you call that?
The playoffs.
The playoffs.
He's been, I think, as little college football as I've watched up to this point, I just know he's been that good up to this point, playing wise. And I can see by Coach O nodding that lets me know, no, he's been as
that
advertised.
Deal.
It's come together for him. So I think that to me, if I'm looking at it from this way, let me throw this as a GM. Do I want that guy? How is the leader of my team putting himself in that type of situation that he's hurting the team? Now, this is a guy that's got a sparkly, clean resume. Like, there's nothing about this kid, loves the Lord, came from Deshaun Watson's high school program. He's a national champion, and he allows this to happen to himself. So that's just me playing devil's advocate. This is really hard to do with Trevor Lawrence. This dude is squeaky clean. But that's me as a leader. Like, you can't put yourself in that position. Says the guy that got swine flu.
What I'm saying is, with this thing being like airborne and not knowing enough facts behind if the mask really helps or not.
Exactly.
It's kind of hard to just blame him for getting it. Now, if he was putting himself at excess risk being at like a party and everybody had their mask off, or being in big groups with his mask off, and that's been documented, if that has been documented, then I would 100% agree with that statement you just made. Mm-hmm. But with it still kind of vague how he caught it, and nobody else really caught it, and it hasn't spread on the team, I would have to do a little bit more digging before I made that statement of what I want him, because I'm going to be honest, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, he's the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck, in my opinion. That's what I really feel.
That's high praise.
Yeah, I mean, just pocket passer that can get out and maneuver a little bit, got all the intangibles, tall. He's going to go to the combine and do everything he needs to do. Hands going to be, over 10 and all this stuff. His height, he's an athlete, a pure pocket passer. I haven't seen one come out like that since Andrew Luck, in my opinion. So I would definitely – I would want him.
Yeah. And Chris, before you go, I want to finish the thought and then get it to you
go ahead.
About Trevor Lawrence. And, I think you're right, because that's how we would think naturally is, he got corona, no big deal. Like, it happens. He's a kid. But I do want to put this to the point. What if that was Justin Fields? How do you think it would? That's why I'm doing the devil's advocate, because they're not doing it for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. So, it would be totally different if that happened. And we all know the reason why that would be a double standard.
That's why I'm putting it out there, because if it was Justin Fields, it had been Kyler Murray his senior year, Jalen Hurts, some of the Deshaun Watson, best believe.
It would be used against them.
I'm making that point. It's the truth. Now, to the Jets, everything Coach O said, I'm in line with. Because there's really nothing Coach O says too much that I disagree with. So y'all knew that was coming. But I will say this. Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion, and I think I told Chris this on some shows a while ago, I would absolutely 100% Eli Manning this thing.
Oh, yeah.
He's that coveted that I'm not going to play for you. Like, if you draft me, or if you're telling me it's you, and I think they've kind of I don't know how much they've reworked that ability for him to go back. He has that window after the playoffs. If they say, we're going to draft you, and I said, well, if you don't tell me you're going to trade me and get something for me, yeah, I'll come back. And he can come back and sit.
And that's exactly my point that I was getting ready to make, because I don't know if the kid came back or not, and it was Corona-based. It was the receiver, Chase.
Jamar
the best
Chase,
receiver.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was more so Corona, but you're seeing players like it was a Kansas State running back / receiver / kick returner. He'd been balling in the first 4 games. He said, I'm done. I'm going to the draft. You've seen a couple other players do the same thing. He can do the exact same thing, and he's still, if he come out this year or next year, he's still going to be, top 5 pick. Now, you could say, well, they said the same thing about Tua, and look what happened to him. Tua got hurt. So if you just go and do your 2-3 games to show them that you still got it, next year, it'll be a different team at the top. I guarantee you that for picking. And
I'll piggyback to you, Chris. We have seen it in recent history, just not with Corona. Joey Bosa was the guy that exemplified that. When he got hurt, he was like, no, I knew no matter what. Could he come back and play? He probably could have came back and played.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, 2 games, I got hurt. They're saying, hey, you can make it worse. No, let me go ahead and sit out because I'm a Bosa, which means I'm a first-round draft pick. Go ahead,
absolutely.
Chris.
Allow me to play Bama's advocate for a second. With Trevor Lawrence being hurt, it opens the door for 2 potential young men from the great state of Alabama to possibly win the Heisman, and I'm all in for it. Mac Jones, Duval County, Jacksonville, Florida, Bulls High School.
I'll give you that one because he's from Duval County.
is now poised to win the Heisman Trophy, which is rare as an Alabama athlete. And Najee Harris is now 3rd in voting for the Heisman Trophy behind the dude who should have went to LSU, but he chose Clemson. I'm not gonna say his name. So I just want to personally extend this thank you to Trevor Lawrence in saying I appreciate whatever you were doing. Now here's the thing. I'll full honestly with you. I don't think he did anything in particular. I feel like he comes from a family and like he's smart enough where he didn't do anything stupid. But I feel as though he might have been around like a girlfriend or something like that kind of brought it back to him.
Oh, you know he was kissing somebody. And I'm telling you right now, the only reason why we not jumping down his throat is because we've said on another show, and I've hung out with Coach O, okay? And I didn't hang out with Coach O back in his one days. But I can tell you right now, up in Kalamazoo, Coach O wouldn't go sit nowhere.
No.
Up in the zoo.
I'm getting loose out there.
Yeah, it goes down in Kalamazoo now.
Oh, yeah.
Coach O, I'm going to ask you this question because me and Walt already covered it, whatever, and we know for a fact if this was at Truman State during this time, Walt would have caught the coronavirus, and I would have caught it twice. I would have caught it twice in Tuscaloosa. If this coronavirus would have happened while you were at Western Michigan, would you have caught it? Because you know you had to stay in the bubble and you got to go to class and all this other stuff. And would you have caught it?
It would have happened because I was redshirted. So I was there for 5 years. So it would break into 2. It's like a split. My first 3 years of college, absolutely, I would have caught it on the first day. my last 2 years of college, I probably wouldn't have caught it because it was just me and my girl loved up, and I basically cut all my friends off. I was just about football, school, and her. It would break into 2 different things, you know.
Okay.
But if it was my freshman, sophomore, junior, please believe I had it the first day. I guarantee you I would have had it the first day. I would have probably been the one to introduce it to Kalamazoo.
Hey, because I'm telling you right now, see, this is the Coach O. They don't know cornrow Coach O.
Oh yeah. Hey, or when I had a perm too, brother.
Yeah.
I had a perm, Coach O.
Yeah.
Had them long butters, man. I was out there doing it, killing them in Chicago, man.
Silky John Sten, Coach O. You know what I'm saying?
Shoot, that's how I used to get down.
Hey,
you know the grill, Coach O.
Man,
they don't know nothing about that.
They don't know nothing about that, dude. Hey, Kalamazoo, and plus Kalamazoo to Chicago.
2 hours.
Hey, but 2 hours away, boy. You hit the man. Come on.
You in and out. Oh boy.
You good, Coach.
Yeah. Like that's the truth. So
there you go.
Yeah. So we're not trying to like Trevor Lawrence, I ain't dissing you, man. I'm really upset that you're not playing in this game. But I want the narrative to be there that it's like because we've already seen it. Look what they did to Cam Newton for 2 weeks. What type of leader is Cam? I mean, Cam's not helping his cause. He's also making Chris Turner very happy right now. You can't. He's paused up right now, America.
Does he not like the Patriots? Is that what it is?
No, it's he
went to Auburn.
Yeah, it's 100%. Chris Turner came up with I never heard anybody call this guy Scam Newton before I met Chris.
Oh my gosh, Scam Newton.
He calls him Scam Newton. And remember, because Cam was in college when we were all together.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, he was calling him Scam Newton back at the O-line. I was like, dude, this dude is crazy.
I mean, all right. First of all, he is Scam Newton. I don't give a damn what anybody says. That's who he is to me. Let me pose this question.
Wow.
Clemson loses against Notre Dame. All right. Then they run the table and win the ACC. Right now, it's poised that Alabama should run the table in the SEC.
Should.
Ohio State most likely will run the table in the Big Ten.
Should.
And if Notre Dame wins out because of the money that's backing them and the TV deals, they're going to get in.
Yep.
Does Clemson get that fourth spot, or do you look around?
I have one question, because I don't know if it's true or not, or if I heard it wrong. Did Notre Dame they're not independent this year? They're doing ACC. Or did I hear that wrong?
Yeah, they're playing an ACC schedule.
They're playing an ACC schedule, but they're not in the ACC champion.
I don't think they're going to be a championship game.
Okay, because that would change my answer, because it wouldn't be two teams from the ACC that made it, in my opinion.
No.
Okay, so if that's the case, Clemson is in regardless, because they're not going to lose to anybody else, even if they lose this game.
Now, mind you, you're probably going to have like a one-loss Georgia team. You're probably going to have a one-loss Pac-12 team. And then you're probably going to have a one-loss Big 12 team.
I've been looking at this football, man, and the SEC this year is like some of the worst defensive played football I've seen in the past 10 years. So I don't think it's going to be a SEC bias that one-loss team from there is going to jump. The ACC is god-awful.
Yeah.
They shouldn't even be, even they're going to be in a conversation because they're Power 5, but they should not. There's no team in the ACC. I mean, the Pac-12 that is even on the same measurements of, Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State. I mean, if you got to have out of the four, those are the three teams that got to be in it, or it's rigged. In my opinion,
I got it, and this is what because I said I haven't been watching, but this might be the team to start watching. If Clemson loses, it's Cincinnati. That's who knocks them out. It would be the first year of non-Power 5, and Cincinnati can run the table. They
got a good defense.
This is when you feel bad for UCF. All they needed was Corona.
2 years later.
All they needed was Corona, and they would have had a chance to play.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not bad, because Cincinnati
that would be
is
the
at
team.
6 or 7 right now.
Yeah.
But they're still behind like a one-loss Georgia team, and they're still behind Oklahoma State, which I can't get behind the Big 12 for anything, especially not Oklahoma State. I just don't.
But let me say this here, because in my opinion, the two best teams in the SEC is Alabama and Georgia.
Right?
Aren't they in opposite?
Yeah.
So they would play for the
each
SEC championship, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So there'll be a 2-loss team there. Guarantee you that. So that's how they're going. Alabama's going to eliminate them in the SEC title game, and that's how Clemson gets back in there. That's how I see it.
And to me, Chris, the team that has the only chance of beating Alabama, it's not Georgia, it's Florida. Florida's the better team. They just got so much COVID. Are they going to get their season back?
Yeah.
Here's where I disagree with that.
Florida's the better team. Like that.
They got the better quarterback. I tell you that.
They have the better offense. They have the better offense.
Georgia has dogs, though.
Georgia honestly has the best defense in the country.
Yep.
Do they?
They have a JV quarterback playing quarterback for them right now.
Yep, that's the problem.
Who can't get the ball to their deep threats?
But here's the
thing.
If they
had that transfer kid, still playing and he didn't opt out, Georgia would be hands down be the best team in the country. I'll take it away from Georgia.
I 100% agree with that statement.
But I'll be the one to take it away, because here's my thing. I watched Mississippi take you guys to the brink.
True. Very true.
Who's
Alabama defense is, that's what I
there.
said originally. It's not what it used to be.
No.
And it's not what it's been in the previous 5-6 years. That's not the Alabama you're seeing right now.
Yeah.
But it's still better. I mean, when they did go against Georgia, and Georgia has the best defense out there, and they still beat them. So I don't see anybody on their schedule that's going to mess with Alabama. That's the only reason I say that. Now, if it was somebody out there in the wing, like I don't see anybody out there before you get to the playoffs that can knock them off, is all I say. Their defense is good enough.
The only team that has the ability to do it, and it's just the aura of that game, it's always the Iron Bowl. You never know what's going to happen.
Because that's a rivalry game.
They had no business losing last year.
That's true.
With a better team. That team had Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs on it. And the same quarterback, and they still lost. They had a better O-line. They had a better defense, and they still lost to Auburn. So Bo Nix has been hot garbage this year. But for
and he's up there fighting with his coaches. I seen that 2 games ago.
But for some reason, he gets up for that game. And to me, that's what I noticed. If Ole Miss has the ability to hang that many points, and let's give Lane Kiffin his credit.
Yeah,
that dude can call college football. Like that dude is legit. What makes you think Kyle Trask, with the talent they have offensively, because they've got some guys.
That tight end.
Yeah. That boy is nice.
I'm going to agree with you. I agree with you for Florida's offense. Florida's defense just leaves a lot to be imagined.
Of course it does.
All you need is 1 or 2 stops, honestly, to win a game. And if Ole Miss would have had 1 or 2 stops.
But you're missing that guy. You're missing your guy. It's a different Alabama team.
I agree.
When you had those 2 studs, trust me.
Here's the thing.
I would be falling back very much. No Jalen Waddle, and it's just Devontae Smith and a bunch of kids that have to prove themselves.
A bunch of young kids.
Okay.
Well, let's call those young kids what they are. Like the Michi the
5-star recruits.
They're 5-star guys. And the Michi the third kid is 4th in the country in receiving yards. So, don't get me wrong, and I mean no disrespect by this, but it's not too much of a drop-off. Like, the kid doesn't return kicks or punts, but he's still 4th in the country in receiving yards.
Okay.
That's true, too.
Let's
Saban ain't no fool. He going to go get those 5 stars. So, situation like this happens, he could plug in. The talent will be there. It will just not be the experience. That'll be the only thing that would be different. Is the experience.
And that, trust me, that comes into play because at some point there's going to be fans. There's going to be fans in these stands.
Oh yeah, there's money to be made. They gotta have them fans.
This shit is easy now. Like what they're doing as young freshmen. Because I'm not, like I said, I've been watching. Because I already told Chris, it doesn't matter who wins the title to me. It's an asterisk. This is the one. Like no, it just is. Like this college football season. To me, when you don't have the elements of somebody having to go play North Dakota State, you just don't have all the. It just doesn't. It doesn't feel like college.
Doesn't feel like real college football.
Oh, that's what it is. It's an asterisk.
No band. You don't.
No nothing.
You got a point there.
That's it. When you don't have to go deal with 80,000 in some of these stadiums on the road, I don't care how good that shit affects you.
They do.
Go to Georgia, there's 85,000 people there. That's a different ball game when you can't hear your audibles.
Right.
Well, let me switch it up on you real quick. Let me switch it up.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
All right, Coach O. Lamar Jackson. I love him to death. He's a Florida kid. Like I've seen this. I've played against his cousins and everything else when I was in school. Like super talent. He got looked over by the like. It's a tragedy how the Hurricanes looked over him. He was in their backyard. Lamar Jackson, is this as good as it gets?
No. And this is the reason why. I looked at this on First Take this morning, and they Max was crucifying him.
Yeah.
He's 0-6 in the big games. He's 0-2 in the playoffs, this, and this. Name a starting receiver on his team that's in the top 10 in any category. I'll wait, besides the tight end. There is nobody. So my point is this right here. They are the #1 rushing team in the league, and he has a lot to do with it because of his element with his legs. He has no one to throw the football to. I truly believe they made a mistake when they picked up Buddy in the first round, Hollywood Brown. That's not what they needed. He's too small. He's not as fast as advertised. He's not physical to play in that slot. I think they wasted a first-round pick on him. And Ozzie Newsome is probably the greatest GM I've ever seen as far as talent accumulation. They need big receivers to play in that offense because 80% of the time you're blocking. You can't have no dude 170 pounds out there trying to play.
No.
And when he's not that. Yes, he was cool at Oklahoma, but let's be real. The last 5 years, what Oklahoma receiver actually did anything in the NFL? None. I'll answer that for you guys. It's a gimmick scheme that they run there in Oklahoma that's great for college, but those players do not produce in the NFL. No. I'm just going to be real. The receivers. Now, I give all credit. Kyler Murray, I think, didn't he go there?
Yeah.
Or no,
transferred there. He transferred
there.
He won the Heisman.
Yeah, so he's legit. He's a guy that is stupefied athletic, quick twitch, and has a cannon for an arm, and he plays, but he can only play in one system. He's a one-trick pony as well. If you don't play in that fun and gun that he's playing with up there in Arizona, he would not be everybody. Oh, he'll be just like Buddy from Seattle.
Russell Wilson.
Be just like him. No, he would not. He would not be just like him in that same offense. It's a total different offense because they believe in running that football a lot of the time. They're not going to sit in 3 and 4 wides and be throwing bubble screens all night. That's not what they're doing. Oklahoma's scheme is gimmick to me. I think that they need to go out and get veteran receivers that can run routes. Yes, I think it was a good pickup to pick Dez Bryant, but Dez Bryant ain't played in 3 years. Let's be real about this. Right. He needs receivers. His defense is championship ready. The run game is championship ready. The special teams is championship ready. He doesn't have anybody to throw the ball to besides Andrews at tight end. And I think it's unfair to judge him at this point to say this is the best he could do. And I know that's crazy because he just won the MVP. He just won the MVP. Yeah. He can get better. That's my answer to that.
Well, I'm going to let it be known as we see the shot clock is at under 7 minutes. That's not going to be enough time to dive into this. So I'm letting you know what's good, America. When we come back for our third and final Zoom, we'll continue from wherever our point is. Couple things I want to touch on that O said. It kind of elaborates some things that I've noticed about this team. By the way, my fiance is sneaking away from the camera. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. She was like doing arm crawls and shit. I love her. That was smooth, man. And by the way, if you haven't gotten your PIC, if you haven't noticed, there's a pep in my step in this talk. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't get, my PIC and we got our PNCO. That's that post-nut clarity. It's a movie. Y'all was at parent-teacher conferences. I gotta
get right.
I gotta spank it. So I just wanted to let that be known. Now, back to our conversation. PNC, it's a movement. Hashtag PNC. I honestly believe that he is handcuffed by the inability of this offense to allow him to either fail on his talents or succeed on his talents. What I mean by this, we've seen this offense before, guys. This is Greg Roman. We've seen this.
Kaepernick, yeah.
We saw it, and we saw how good it could be.
Yeah.
And when it got to that point, was Colin Kaepernick either allowed or did he have the ability to be better than that? And I can answer the Kaepernick question this way. No, because I always knew Colin Kaepernick was not that good of a quarterback. I thought he was a great athlete, but he couldn't even roll left and throw. So I'm going to leave that there. That's kind of
I'm gonna say this.
I'm not done. I told you. That's why it's going to carry over.
Let me bring this up so I can get some kind of conversation to this. Like
I'm not done because O made some good points that we need to dive into. This is a real football talk. He made some points.
Here's the conversation. Like you brought up a great point with Kaepernick, but here's the difference. Like I say this about a lot of players, a lot of size matters. So where like Kaepernick can get away with some of that shit that was going on and it's a very big if, but if you got a good shot on Cap probably gonna bounce right back up. If you get a good shot on Lamar, I don't know if he gets back up.
Yeah, he don't have the body frame for that. That's not what he do. That's not his game.
Shot, but you can't get the shot on him. And
that's why I said if. That's why I prefaced it with if.
He actually does a really good job of shrinking.
I'm just gonna say this right here. I love Lamar Jackson. I love everything he's standing for. I love how he knows he's not the finished product, and his hunger to be great, and how he does pay homage to the ones that were there before him. I love that about him. I love the kid. But this is what I did see in that Pittsburgh Steelers game. And I wanted to make sure I saw that correctly, so I watched the replay last night. Again, he got hit harder in that game than he's ever been hit in any game that he's ever played. And the reason why is because they're running him up in that middle like that. So you'll see some hits. It was the reason he fumbled the ball 3 times in that game. He was getting smacked. Yep. So what's going to happen to him is the same thing that happened to RG3. If they continue to not let this boy evolve as a thrower of the football. They ran RG3 into the ground, and eventually his body gave out on him. That's, for the people that don't know, that's what happened. The same thing is going to happen to Jackson if they don't put receivers around him and force this boy to evolve as a thrower from the pocket without play action. Because everybody, he throws the ball. Yes. 7 out of his 10 passes are play action passes.
Yeah.
When is he going to be allowed to spread them out, 5 wides, pick out zone man, and figure out where to get to that ball, who to get the ball to? Because in college, he did it. So you can't say he can't do it because he did it for, what was his name? Petrino. That offense wasn't him just running around like a chicken with his head cut off. He was throwing that tater around now. And he can do it. He just needs better receivers to do it, in my opinion.
And that's he's actually hitting on my point. We do disagree for the first time. I'm a big fan of Hollywood Brown in the sense of that he does have the ability, I feel like, that's a guy that can get you 80, 1,209. He's not as solidly built as you would like your slots to be. I see you do on that. This dude's 170 soaking wet. Like, I don't think he can put on that weight. He's not built like Tyler Lockett. He's not built like Wes was. He's not built like Edelman, like those guys.
But see, all those guys you just named, this is my problem with Brown. He's faster than he is quick. To play in the slot, the traditional slot is quicker, usually quicker than they are fast. He is straight line fast with it. Is no doubt, no denying. His I guess what I'm saying is his attributes, in my opinion, are better on the outside, but he's not big enough to play out there because he has that long range. But when have you seen him catch a 5-yard out, run option routes like that? That's not his game. He's trying to get deep.
Do they call it for him, though?
Yeah, but even in college, if you look at it, perfect example, same college, D.D. Westbrook, he could play that slot. That boy quick than a mug. Same school. He came right after D.D. Total different games, though. Their game is not the same playing in that slot.
Right.
And that's where I say that his skill set, to me, is on the numbers and outside, but his body frame is inside. My son is going through the same thing right now. Like trying to put him at slot, but he runs a 4.27. But he's more speed straight down, and he's working on the quickness piece. That's why I say that. And his body is, he's only 5'11", 185 pounds. That's how big my son is. I say the same thing to him. You need to get quicker so you can run those routes that make slot receivers effective in the ball game. That's what I see.
This is a good pause moment because I know we're going to run out of time. We'll be back. We're going to pick up the Lamar Jackson conversation. I'm loving having this